What's up YouTube? Sean Forney here. It has been a little while since I did a video. Got a bunch of stuff going on. I'm about ready to leave for Nepal. I'll be climbing a mountain in Nepal. So I've been spending a lot of my free time training versus doing car videos. So I'm gonna do a video today because I just got my FD back. I've had this thing for, my goodness, probably 10 months or so now, and I've only had it here in my possession for probably 2 months of that time because it's been in various shops. It was painted, got a bunch of work done to the car, had to drop the rear end, rebuild the rear end. It has an 8.8 inch Ford rear end out of a Cobra. It needed the rear end rebuilt, had to get lower control arms in the rear, a tune, injectors, and just all kinds of stuff. And then after I got it back from that shop, well, the paint shop that painted it, I think, for what I paid for it, I think they did a great job, but their cutting and wet sanding, they didn't do a good job there. So I gave it to my paint correction buddy, and he literally brought this thing, made it shine. So it's Josh Roberts at Beyond Reflections in Hagerstown, Maryland. He's an absolute freaking animal with a buffer. So I'll do a quick little video about the RX7. I call it my mutt because it is literally one of my only cars. The Supra's not here. My Cadillac CT5V Blackwing is finally going to be here within the next 2 weeks, hopefully before I leave for Nepal, which is on April 6th, and then I'll do a video on that also. But again, my excuse me, my FD is a mutt. It's got different parts from different cars. It's got a Texas Speed-Built LS3 that's a 418 cubic inch. It's got a Cobra 8.8 inch rear end. It's got a T56. It's got all kinds of different stuff on it. So I'll do a quick little video about the RX7. And at some point I'll do some driving videos as well because it's an absolute freaking monster. So everybody stay tuned. If you haven't already, make sure you like my videos, hit the subscribe button. I do a bunch of random videos, all kinds of different stuff. All right, stay tuned. All right, here she is. This is a 1993 Mazda RX7. I just got my license plate. No rotor, how appropriate. And now this is a custom emblem. This does have the X from the LS3, which is pretty amazing. I really do like that. It does have Affini badges. And then these are my personal little touches. A friend of mine that I got the car from, he does the tuna no crust, and then I add the back to the 90s stickers. So I also have 2 of those stickers waiting to go on the Supra because I'm a big 90s fanboy with cars. Now really the paint job is quite well. It's quite good. There's a couple imperfections that my guy couldn't get out. These are some bubbles in the clear. But again, for what I paid for the paint job, I'm not really going to complain too much. So now this color, the reason I picked this color is because, let's see here, whenever I bought this car, it was already LS3 swapped, and the engine bay was already Porsche gray black. So this car is Porsche gray black. I forget the exact color code. I definitely have it somewhere, but it's a really, really pretty color. Depending on what light you look at it in and all that good stuff, it either looks black or it looks primer or whatever the case, whatever you want to call it. But again, the car has Inky NT03 wheels, a little something that'll blow your mind. It took me a while to learn why they have 2 valve stems, but it's apparently so you can be reading your pressure and then inflating your wheels at the track. But I don't know. I've always really, really liked the NT03 wheels. 18 by 11 in the rear, 18 by 9.5 up front. But the paint turned out really, really good after I had it paint corrected. After I got it back from the paint shop, I was actually pretty disappointed. But it's amazing what a very talented paint correction guy can do to your car. Now the engine itself, yeah, there's a little bit of oil right here because this is not really a good oil cap. But you can see it's got, well, down there, you might be able to see it. It's got the Texas Speed stamp in the block. It's got PRC heads. It's a 418 cubic inch LS3. It has an amazing, I forget what setup this is. It's going to drive me nuts, but it's got a Sandberg swap kit. But this radiator setup, I've had a couple LS swapped FDs. They typically run pretty hot, 205 up to 215. This thing doesn't go above 180. It's typically between 160 and 180. So it's amazing. It does have a Willwood clutch master cylinder, but I'm probably going to swap that out for a Sickie manufacturing one just because I like their products. Willwood does something, I don't know, but I'm not really a big fan of this clutch master setup. This person was smart that did the swap. They went ahead and put a remote bleeder in because the clutch lines are so close to the headers back here. Your clutch fluid gets hot and it turns black, then your clutch starts to be a pain in the rear end. So, I mean, really, the car has working air condition, working heat. The heat was not hooked up whenever I bought it. It was bypassed, so we hooked that back up. But it also does have the cruise control, which is mounted underneath here if I wanted to hook it back up, but I'm not that picky. But it does, it's there. It can be hooked up pretty easily. But it does have working air conditioning, power steering, all the accessories work. It's just overall a really, really no complaints, well-sorted FD. So whenever I bought this car, my goal was to literally make it perfect. And whenever I bought it, it was far from perfect. It needed painted. Mechanically, it was a pretty sound car. It had some slop in the rear end and all that good stuff. But, since I bought it, my biggest complaint is that whoever did swap their rear end used solid bushings, so you do feel a lot of the noise and all that. You feel the noise, you hear the noise, but you feel a lot of what's going on in the drive line. So that is kind of like a complaint of mine. But I mean, overall, this car I'm almost to my goal of it being perfect. Interior is mint. These seats came out of a car with 18,000 miles. Now, I would really ideally like to have the black suedes. So if anybody's watching, they want to swap me some black suedes for mint tan leather, I'd be your Huckleberry on that. So now the other thing that I did, which I really do like, I did not do it. Rotor Piston Motorsports out of Hagerstown. Mike Quinn, great guy. He did the gauges for me. So these are Speed Hut gauges. They're custom gauges. Everything is, made to fit in these housings. I went ahead and got the GPS speedometer because it's really nice. They're all programmable, all that good stuff. This will use Apple CarPlay and all that good stuff. I do have one blank switch here, which I might wind up putting as my cruise control, possibly. The fog light switch is how you activate the air conditioning. That door is probably the worst thing in here. It has a Saki bomb handle. But other than that, this car, interior-wise, button-wise, door cards, I mean, this thing is like really, really good shape. It does have the Nardi steering wheel. Horn does not work, which I really don't care about that. Also, whenever I bought it, it did not have windshield wipers. So I was fortunate enough to find these OEM and bought them. But, other than that, I mean, the car is absolutely amazing. It is scary fast. It dynoed at 480 horsepower to the wheels and 470 torque. It has an amazing curve. I mean, it's like the torque is like right there right now. So I was really satisfied with its all motor. And again, it only weighs 2,800 pounds. So this thing's like a freaking rocket ship. I mean, it is dangerously scary. It does have some traction problems, but I can't really do too much more in the rear just to get some stickier tires. I did put the HKS Carbon TI exhaust on it because, well, that's a pretty correct modification for these cars. So although it does have a big old Chevy engine in it, I do want it to look as if it's a RX7, because it is. Although it's a mutt and it's mixed with a bunch of different pieces, this is one of my favorite chassis ever made. Just the body lines of this car, are just so amazing. I've been a fan of these cars since I could remember. I just love everything about the body lines, how small they are, how nimble they are. I do have some side skirts as well, and then R1 front lip. But other than that, I mean, that's pretty much it in a nutshell. Whenever we tuned it, we were able to eliminate the MAF. Whenever we got the new injectors, we got the flow data so we could tune it on speed density. I think we picked up something like 12 horsepower by eliminating the MAF, which is absolutely crazy. But in a nutshell, this is my 93 Mazda RX7 Mutt, as I call it, because it has a little bit of parts from everything on it. But I mean, these things are absolutely gorgeous. The body lines on these things are absolutely amazing. So there she be. Well, you know, now that the weather is starting to turn around, I'll start to get these toys out of hibernation. I should have the Supra back soon. The Supra is at Ryan Scott's Pure Function. A lot of people follow him on YouTube. He's being the doctor on the Supra and giving it some go fast parts. So there she be. If you guys have any questions or anything in particular about any of these cars, let me know. But here is a little video on my 93 LS3 swapped Mazda RX-7. Thank you all so much for watching. Stay tuned.